to hear from you or read about you at least once every 6 weeks for them not to think you don't care. So you've got to find a way to do that. You've got to find a way to touch your customers regularly without annoying them. In my little business, I put out an electronic newsletter, and it's a steal. I use a standard template. It takes me about 2 hours to do the newsletter. I've got now 6,000 people that goes to. It's got hyperlinks throughout it, so I can check what every single person has looked at, and it costs me $500 a year. I mean, it's just ridiculously cheap. You ought to be doing that. Now, I don't care if people don't read it. That's not the point. As long as they see my name as they delete it, that's fine. They know I care. And that's what you're seeking to achieve here. And then you've got to look at other ways by which your company is being seen. People, that your customers are just reading about you, and that's fine, just reading about you. That might be some sort of charitable contribution or whatever it might be, or hearing from you about every 6 weeks. And what I'm seeing now in the West and in Japan is, if they don't read or hear about you, they assume that you've now disappeared and you've gone. You're off the vendor list inside human beings. That's difficult. Put it on your invoices. Put on your invoices. Thank you for this business. We really appreciate it. What have you got to lose, guys? What have you got to lose? So this business of yours, what were the sales last year, do you reckon? It's got to be in, do you use crores or lakhs or is it just thousands or millions? 10 million, okay. So this business of yours, what should we do with it then? 10 crore, does that make sense? All right, thank you. That makes life easier for me. So we'll say BDT millions. In which case, let's make it a nice round figure. So last year's sales were 1,000. I'll assume you're only making 10%. What do you reckon? Give me a number. What do you think is possible? Speak to me. What do you reckon?
Sorry? I didn't follow.
We just talked about getting back customers we've lost.
Yeah.
So for this company of yours, what additional sales can we get next year by getting back customers we've lost? Give me a guess. What's your opinion? How much do you think we can get back?
10%.
10%?
5 to 10%.
Let's be conservative. Let's go for 5% because we need to be conservative. So 5% is 50, yeah? Factors? Right. He's back. Our sales guy, he's back. Sorry, boss. Sorry, boss. We forgot about the lost customers. But we're working on it. We've got a list together of every customer we've lost in the last 3 years. We've contacted them all. We've got back on the vendor list. And we are going to get some additional business. We're going to get about 50 million taka. But that's not going to give you the 40% you're looking for. Can I have the money now, please? Still no. It's still a big no. There's still so much you can do to grow your business that won't cost you a penny. For me, there are 3 things that every business needs to measure. 3 really, really simple things. But the accountants never measure these things. I don't know why. 3 things. Here we go. Oh, I got something else to show you first. I forgot I'd put this in. Let me just share this with you and we'll come back to it in here today. What I am seeing out there now, everywhere in the world, is that the world has changed. Nobody anymore is mediocre at what they do. Nobody has a mediocre product. No one has a mediocre service. Frankly, if you're mediocre, you've gone. You've disappeared. So if you are really painfully honest about your product, your service, actually, it's pretty well the same as everybody else's. It might be a little bit better, it might be a little bit worse, but in reality it's pretty well the same as everybody else's. And what I'm seeing out there increasingly is the way by which people are differentiating themselves from the competition is all about the process that you take your customers through. And I've put this on a chart. So here we go. On the y-axis here is your product or service, meeting expectations better than or not meeting. And on the x-axis is the process you take your customers through. Satisfied, delighted, dissatisfied. So here we go. Let's say you recommend a restaurant to me. I go along, I have a fantastic meal, even better than I expected. It's going to be somewhere along this line. But in reality, it took 2 hours to come and the waiter had his thumb in the soup. It's going to be in that box there. Where you need to have every single one of your customers are in the green boxes. These people will be a free sales force. They'll be advocates. They will tell other people about you. They'll say, do you know what? My other techs have got outstanding products, but they are such a delight to do business with. It's so easy doing business with them. I really look forward to it. They will tell other people about you. Does anyone here ever bought from Amazon online? You know, it's incredibly easy. There's something about buying from Amazon online. I don't even realise I've done it. They just make it so easy for you. Somehow it happens. Whereas you buy for other things online, and it's incredibly difficult, and you give up halfway through. When Toyota set up Lexus, their luxury car division, as you would expect, they did a massive piece of research. And they came to the conclusion that as far as the car was concerned, the product, they could not assume they could build a car that was better than Mercedes-Benz, BMW or Jaguar. They could only build a car that was as good as. So they took the strategic corporate decision that the way by which... And the ashtray was missing. So he rang up the dealer, he said, look, I've just got my car back, and the ashtray's missing. And they said, oh, don't worry, Mr. Taylor, we've got it here. Next time you're passing, call in, and we'll let you have it. And he was a bit unhappy with that. So he rang the local Lexus dealer. He said, can I ask you a question? He said, yes, sir. He said, if I had a Lexus, and I put my car in for a service and it came back and the ashtray was missing, what would you do? Why, Mr. Taylor, we would bring it out to you. Why do you ask? So he told them. 2 hours later, the Lexus dealer delivered his BMW ashtray. Guess what car he's now driving? That's what you've got to do these days. That's what you've got to do. 100% is no longer good enough. You've got to do 110% everywhere your company, your organisation touches customers. That's what's expected. And there's a downside as well. A friend of mine took his wife to Dubai earlier this year. He said it was ridiculous. One of these top hotels. He said, I've never spent so much money in all my life at a hotel. He said it was ridiculous amount of money. He said, but we didn't regret it at all. It was the most amazing experience until it came to the last 10 minutes. And he said, I'm only talking about the last 10 minutes. Anyone ask me, that's all they're hearing from me. So I said, what's that then? He said, well, slightly less important. But I think it's only slightly less important. You don't all want to be a Ryanair with the consequences that come from that. Okay. So, back to our sales guy. What's the average order value? Straightforward mathematical calculation. What's the average order value? Still easy? Yeah? Number 3, what's the frequency? How often do they buy from you? So here we go. Let's say you've got 1,000 customers. Let's say on average the order value is 500,000 taka. Well, let's say on average that is, because we don't want to work hard getting this growth, do we? I mean, there's all kinds of things to do. Playing golf and all kinds of interesting things. So let's say we can get the number of customers up 3%. Let's say we can get the average order value up just 3%. And let's say we can get the frequency up from twice a year to 2.2 times a year. Do you agree? Those are really modest, yeah? Do you agree? You can't get much more modest than that, can you? Well, this next bit is where any accountants in the room always get their calculators out because they don't believe my maths. Because you see, ladies and gentlemen, that will give you 17% growth in sales. That's how easy it is. That's how easy it is. But it is not the way salespeople think. You can get the best part of 17% growth from your existing customers. Getting your existing customers to spend more often. And it's really easy. And you're going to show us how. It's time for you to do some work again, I'm afraid. I'm going to break you into 6 groups, A to F. And if you please, you'll see each of these charts is marked. If you would go to whichever group you are in. And I'd like you to take no more than 10 minutes. Write up on a flip chart, please, every idea you can come up with. And the trick here is to think outside the box, please. Be creative. Every idea as to how you can get, I'll come back to that, how you can get the average order value up, how you can get the frequency up for a generic business, not necessarily your business, just for a business generally. How do you get your existing customers to spend more often? And it is much easier than you'd think. I usually get 3 sheets of flip chart paper. So just come at it from every direction you can, and believe me, it's really easy. Okay, afterwards, elect them democratically, of course. About 10 minutes you've got. I hope I've chosen the right name for you. If you can't see your name there, I'll tell you what I've called you. You see my name, but you should all be there. A, B, C on this side, D, E, F on that. On that flip. So write it on the flip chart. Every idea, doesn't matter how silly it is, any idea to get your customers to... Don't worry, get moving, don't worry. They'll turn. Hey, everyone know what they're doing? So just... Totally more. Okay. Get moving, guys. You've only got... Called Raman. They are D. You get your customer.
Now you're washing your hand 2 times, you need to wash your hand.
That's it, exactly right. Exactly. Put it up your
Number of customers.
I can see that. Just put them up, because you need to get about 4 pages. At least 4 pages, I
Thank you, God, for your